Once again, greetings and welcome to TFT Tarot for Today, Divine Dabblings with Oberon and Banshee. And this is me, Oberon, with my weekly segment, Oberon's Outlook on the Emotional Exchanges, which is a tarot astrology forecast for the elemental signs of the Zodiac. And we cover a number of areas about the emotional spectrum. We usually start with a collective reading for everyone, which I take from the Isis Tarot, more of an oracle than an actual tarot. So I'm going to do that right now. Nice and shuffled up. And I thank you for watching. This broadcast is good for today, Friday, May 28th. And that's till next Thursday. That's June 3rd. All right, I'm just going to pick one at random and see what we get. Sloop. That's number 18, Sloop. There's a better picture for that. What is Sloop? It looks like a boat. Hang on, Sloopy. Okay, and it's an analog to the Tarot's Moon card. So it's talking about intuitive and visionary period of time. The power of imagination is also indicated. Peace and quiet after a nerve-wracking period. That would be nice for all of us, and it has been a little nerve-wracking, no? A journey over water, clairvoyance, a given task is carried out. So that's nice. Alrighty then, so we're going to get on to the rest of the reading, and as I mentioned, we do these for the elemental signs of the Zodiac. So we're going to do that with air first, the air signs that is. Air signs are Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. And we draw 4 cards for each of the signs. The first card is from this deck, the Eclipticos Tarot. And this is an oddball tarot too. It has no demarcation between major and minor arcana. And the minor arcana are not divided up in the normal pips or suits, wands, swords, cups, that sort of thing, nor are there any court cards. So they're just all numbered from 1 to 78, with number 22 or 3 picking up right after where the major arcana leaves off. But I like them because they have an interesting wordplay with words that they use to describe the main concept or essence of the card. So here we go with that focus word for the air signs. And I hope it's welcome. It's domesticity for the air signs. So I would say that air signs are going to just sort of maybe feel like hunkering in and doing things domestically. In this week ahead, maybe we're a little pooed from all the, coming back to life with the spring and the easing of most COVID restrictions. So we want to put our emphasis, I think, on our domicile, our home life, that kind of thing. Alrighty then, so now we're going to get on to the rest of the reading. And for that one, I use a regular tarot deck that is Egyptian themed. And that's called, it's by Clive Barrett, and it's called the Ancient Egypt Tarot. So I'm going to shuffle those again, and we'll pull the next several cards. So, what emotional happiness will air signs find this week? And it's the Six of Swords. Air signs are moving on, maybe to a new venture. Air signs maybe are leaving things behind that aren't working for them. Keyly, that could be unhappiness. It could also be a sense of isolation or a sense of non-progress. So air signs feel there is movement. The Six of Swords is movement. We are moving to something better that would make us happy. All right then, so what challenges or surprises await the air signs? And we have the Five of Swords. Upright. Whoops. And a Five of Swords upright. What may be surprising is that despite our moving on to something we think is better, there may still be some issues of enmity, anger, feelings of displacement with people around us, people we know. Most of the fives really talk about our energies as they interact with other people. And so this could be saying that maybe we have some little fights going on around us. They could be more serious or not. I mean, you may know your situation better. So take care. Don't try to inflame too much if you can help it. But of course, you do need to stand up for yourself. So then finally, air signs, what will be of concern to those around us that we care for, whether they're our most loved or whether there are other people in our emotional realm that we truly care for, friends, family, co-workers, platonic friends, children, etc., all of that. And what concerns them is the Hermit, upright. And the idea there being that maybe folks around us feel they need their own time right now. Or some folks, they feel they need to be off on their own. People are asking for quiet time or alone time. It could be mostly not personal to you. It's not like they're saying, back off, get away from me, you lousy air sign. No, what it really is it's more about them. They feel those around you, they need to be on their own for a while. They need to dive in deep, so give them their space. So starting that off once again, we have domesticity, and that sort of plays into that last card, is that maybe we are feeling comfortable around our home because we know finally that those around us we care about are also wanting to just spend time alone with themselves. So, give them a quiet space if they need it. But also, too, we ourselves feel we're happy because we are moving beyond some situations. Maybe they are things we need to move beyond because they're painful, or maybe we're just more or less done with them and we want to move on to the next thing. I think that could be what it is. So the only thing concerning that is that it may challenge you to make sure you kind of keep the peace with this, that if you are moving away from something that maybe has an engagement, that you kind of back out the right way, that you don't add any more inflamement, to what people may be going through. So that's what I have for the air signs. And now we will move on to the fire signs. And fire signs are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. The element of fire. And their word of the week, their focus of the week, is Major Arcana 14, or just number 14 because of this deck. It's temperance. So I think fire signs need to understand moderation this week, or maybe they are expecting to enact moderation this week. I think we find we are at our best possible things when we have a calm temperament, when we understand balance and flow. All right then, so on to the reading. And I'll just take a quick moment to remind everybody to watch my favorite fire sign, the Banshee, her show, Banshee's Material Matters, which is on 10 o'clock on Sundays, Eastern Standard Time. And we are usually there Sunday morning in the chat room live to engage you, chat about the reading that she's doing there. It is pre-recorded, but we're there to follow up or have fun, drink coffee. A lot of our friends meet us there, so it's very cool. Thank you. And I guess that wasn't such a brief announcement. All right then, so fire signs, what will be emotionally happy for you? What will be surprising and happy for you? And it's the King of Cups. He's reversed. So I'm thinking, well, let me think for a moment. Maybe when we're not looked at so much as this all-encompassing, oh, you are the great peacemaker, oh, you are the kindest person, oh, you are the most benevolent person, oh, you're the wisest counselor. Maybe when we're not being viewed that way by somebody who basically, maybe possibly using us as a crutch or as a straw person to stand behind to receive their own validation. It makes us happy when we know that those around us, whether we care a lot about them or we just have to have interactions, that they're not going to use us, you know, in that way of being their excuse. People should learn the wisdom and kindness and enact it in their own lives. And so maybe if you have that understanding, like maybe you're seeing that finally happen with friends you've been telling, you know, that's going to make you happy too, I suppose. So there is that. So then, what will be challenging? What will be your surprises or challenges this week? And we have the Princess of Discs, and that would be like the Page of Discs or Pentacles or Coins. And so what is surprising, I suppose, is that maybe we're finding we really want to focus hard on our dream now. Maybe because we can feel that we're not necessarily with codependent folks around us, because that would be a way of looking at that King of Cups too, you know, so it's saying like we're happy when we're not codependent. And so maybe when we're able to really focus on our goals and our dreams because we're not codependent, well, it's a challenge because maybe we haven't had that opportunity to do that because we are possibly always struggling to bring others around, fire signs, or at least this is in your purview this week. And so not having to do that is kind of a challenge because maybe you have to understand that you don't have to be everyone's savior either, fire signs. Just throw that out there. So then finally, what is of concern to the fire signs, loved ones, be they close, super close, or just somebody that we care about? We don't want to see, you know, bad things happen. We want good things to happen. And I think that when we look at those people around us, there's one in particular, some in particular maybe, who are emulating this Queen of Cups. It's kind of interesting because it's sort of the opposite of that King of Cups that started us off there. And so I'm thinking people around us are really feeling maybe they are rising to the challenge of emotional charity, emotional kindness, benevolence, help to others. And so maybe all of this is really about the fact that you have kind of set an example or you have kind of stood your ground in a certain way to make others look into themselves, into their own emotional resonance and say, I can do what you do too. And you're going to feel glad about that. You know, you're empowering somebody to be kind, whether that's your key attribute or not, fire signs, wink, wink. But anyway, it's all about that temperance, I think. If we were capping that just really, this is the week where you're so tapping into the healing energies that all of this just seems to really flow. The idea that you are happy because codependency is slipping away from you in your relationships, and because now you can focus on other goals that really mean a lot to you. and that others around you really are willing to respond emotionally and with clarity their own feelings for you and for, you know, the tapestry that you all share. Oh, that kind of gives me chills. So that's what I have for the fire signs. And now we'll move on to the water signs. And water signs are people like me, but that's also Cancers and Pisces. I'm your Scorpio here. The Scorpio du jour, or however that's said. I mango accents that aren't mine. So what is the water signs word for the week, or the focus card? And it's the Weaver. Water signs are going to provide connective tissue this week. Water signs are going to connect people emotionally or connect properties and situations emotionally. Maybe we're going to play a little matchmaker. Maybe we're just going to be the person that kind of soothes. We're not going to be codependent. We're just going to be the person that maybe is the voice of emotional reason and togetherness. So let's do that reading then. And, you know, I have this warm, benevolent, you know, emotional exchange side. And then I also have that little bit of shadowy side that you can see on my short collective reading, Goth Tarot, which is now on Wednesday mornings at 8 a.m. And it's maybe more of a study in philosophies or dark philosophies, and maybe dealing with the kind of things that sometimes we don't always talk about, but are really important. You know, it's not just depression. It's really about where we are on a darker, deeper side. So watch that. Thank you. And now, water signs. What gives you emotional happiness or satisfaction this week? Yay, the Hangman reverse. I think you're happy because maybe you don't have to give up a lot of things in order to understand certain truths. Maybe the truths are easier to understand right now. Maybe you also understand too that these sacrifices, maybe they're just not needed at this time, or they're really not going to be helpful. So rather than give away things, give away pearls to the swine, or however that saying goes, you really are thinking about, you know, what you need to just nurture in yourself instead. That this is just really the time, not necessarily to give up, but to gather in. So then what's going on with the surprises or challenges that may be coming your way? And we have the Eight of Swords. And I think we're challenged maybe because it's a card of movement, but movement maybe that's slightly delayed. Maybe we're feeling like we're being held back. So your challenge, I think, is the idea that there's something that you feel is limiting you this week. There's something that you feel you can't avoid, or you can't avoid dealing with, but you can't deal with it in a more, I don't want to say offensive way, but a more positive way. You're sort of dealing with it in a restrictive way. You're shrinking from an action. That's your challenge. There's an action you need to take to kind of move yourself out into the open, into more activity that you need to do. So then finally, what will concern our loved ones, be they spouses, lovers, our parents, children, grandchildren, etc., our boss, our other co-workers, our neighbors, all of those folks, what will be concerning some of them? And it's the Three of Wands reversed. And I think some of the folks around you maybe are starting to realize that the things they've been planning for or hoping for, maybe on that emotional circuit, you know, an attainment of certain things, the plans that they've made, there's delays there. They may need to rework some things. If there are people around you who are trying to move more into your friend zone or into other people's friend zones, or more than the friend zone, they're not finding this happening so much. They're maybe finding that there are some, delays there, or that actually these may be the kind of situations that they really should just consider cutting their losses. So any of the people who think that they're going to, get a date with the most unattainable person in the world, it's probably true. They're not. Something like that. So recapping once again, I think the water signs are connective tissue. They're helping out where they can emotionally, but conversely or not, maybe some of that weaving they're doing is within themselves, that they also have to try to not give up but gather in, as I said. And they're challenged, especially I think, because in all of this there's something maybe that limits them. Maybe the weaver thing is really about the fact that there are folks who want them to be doing more for them, and your challenge may be really knowing when you can and when you can't. And I think that's the Three of Wands too, that sometimes people need advice. It's just a really hard call, because a lot of our friends, I think, water signs, rely on you, and maybe you're going to be teaching them to rely on themselves a little bit. I'm just sort of inferring that from a gestalt there. But at any rate, good luck until next time, water signs. And so now we will move on to the earth signs. Earth signs, you are Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. And you have a word of the week, a focus card. Premonition. I know that's come up for one of the other signs in the last week or two. So earth signs, I think, are feeling a little bit more in touch with their intuition or their psychic abilities, or it may just be random. There may be certain things that are so important that you will be sensing them, or you will be feeling something about them will foretell to you an outcome or a situation that affects you. And I suppose it's more about the emotional realm, that maybe if you had certain emotional feelings one way or the other about somebody that you really are drawn to, or somebody you're repulsed by, or anything in between, you may find that this is the week where you get a glimmer more about what that's about. So let's move on then to the rest of the reading. Alrighty. Earth signs. What brings you emotional happiness this week? Bingo, you hit the jackpot. You have the Empress. Earth signs this week, you are Mother Earth. No matter what your gender or disposition are, you are the essence of creativity. You are the essence of nature, just relentlessly moving towards a goal. You will find, earth signs, that everything seems to be coming up roses. What will surprise or challenge you in this week? And you have the Four of Cups reversed. So I think that the challenge for you is making that choice of where really to go. You feel empowered by this high energy of the Empress, yet still you may be looking at some different situations, and I'm thinking this is emotional too. So you may be looking at where you wish to put those energies on heartfelt things, whether they're adventures with people, new relationships, or whether they're spending more time with children or grandchildren or doing things with them. You don't have this ability to necessarily put all of this there. You want to find that one thing maybe that you're going to focus on, the thing that you love a lot, or at least in this time frame. And then finally, what will concern your friends, your lovers or spouses, or other people that are important to you. What will concern them emotionally and otherwise? And it's the Magician reversed. And I suppose that means that maybe somebody around you is off on their willpower, that maybe they're working towards an end that they're just not going to realize, and it's mostly because they don't have the right stuff, in a way, that there's just sort of something that's not quite there. It could very well be they just don't have their heart into this project or this situation. Maybe they're really working at differing ends there. Like maybe they think somebody likes them that really isn't going to like them, and they're putting too much energy into that. We are talking about the emotional situations. So I think that maybe premonition serves us this week, because we are having maybe a sense of all that. We're sensing ourselves as vibrating with high love for the world and whatever's in it for us. We're also feeling challenged by the fact that something we really love, we now will be able to focus on, or that it's just somehow said, yeah, that's what I want to do. That's what I love doing. The only lag point, I suppose, is that others around us are finding out that maybe they don't have the will to go through with this, or that they're not really strong enough to do their own projects, and you may have to be there to help them along a little bit. It's interesting. So that's what I have for the earth signs, and I hope so. That's what I have for the earth signs, and I really appreciate you watching. So thank you for coming to my emotional exchanges this week, and we'll see you next week. Take care. Bye.